Imagine burying your own children in your backyard because an apocalypse is coming and they've been possessed by dark spirits. Sounds like the plot of a horror movie, right? Except it's not. It's the chilling reality of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, a toxic blend of doomsday prophecies, obsessive love, vanished kids, and a trail of sudden deaths that shocked the nation. What happens when religious obsession, romance, and murder collide? On American Nightmares, we're diving deep into one of the most disturbing true crime cases of our time, where every twisted detail actually happened. Are you ready to go down this rabbit hole?
On a cool September morning in 2019, the kind of morning where Idaho feels calm and safe, neighbors on Brentwood Drive noticed something strange. The Vallow kids hadn't been seen in days. It wasn't like Tylee Ryan or little Joshua J.J. Vallow to suddenly vanish. Tylee was 17, sharp-tongued but protective. J.J., only 7, was autistic, energetic, and deeply attached to routine. People noticed when their routines broke. Inside the townhouse Lori Vallow had recently moved into, blinds stayed shut and the driveway remained empty. No kids playing, no noise, no movement. A place that once seemed like a fresh start now carried the eerie stillness of a home trying to hide something. What no one knew yet was that this disappearance would explode into one of the most disturbing sagas in American crime history, stretching across states, uncovering secret religious doctrines, and exposing a romance twisted by apocalyptic fantasies. At first, officers treated it like a welfare check. JJ's grandparents, worried after weeks with no contact, reached out to police. Detectives knocked. Lori answered the door with her signature smile, the kind that made people underestimate her. When asked where JJ was, she gave an answer that would become infamous. "He's staying with a friend. He's safe." She never said which friend. She never produced the child. Behind her stood Alex Cox, Lori's brother, loyal to a fault, and always present when trouble surfaced. His calm stare told officers nothing, and everything. But detectives felt it, that strange, chilling tension that fills a room before the truth breaks open. Something was wrong, very wrong. Within days, Lori and her new husband, Doomsday author Chad Daybell, would vanish just like the children. The clock had started, and America had no idea the nightmare it was stepping into.
If you trace the roots of this case back far enough, they don't begin with violence. They begin with a love story, but not the kind that fills Valentine's Day cards. This was a romance built on prophecy, secret beliefs, and the idea that the world was ending soon. Lori Vallow first encountered Chad Daybell the way many modern obsessions start, through his books. Chad wasn't a household name, but in certain tight-knit prepper and spiritual communities, he was a celebrity. A former gravedigger turned author, he claimed he had near-death experiences that granted him visions of the afterlife. His books read like end-time survival manuals mixed with religious fantasy. To most people, they were niche. To Lori, they were scripture. She attended one of his conferences in 2018, a gathering of people who believed in portals, past lives, and a coming apocalypse set for July 2020. When Lori and Chad finally met, witnesses later said the chemistry was instant, intense, and unsettling. Here sat a married mother of 3 and an author with a wife and 5 kids, leaning close, whispering, sinking to each other's energy. Lori told friends she and Chad had been married in multiple past lives. Chad claimed she was a translated being, chosen by God, protected, exalted. Together, they created a private world, a world where rules didn't apply, a world where dark spirits took over people, a world where those people had to be removed. Chad began labeling people as light or dark. Lori believed every word, and soon the people closest to them, spouses, siblings, even children, would be assigned terrifying spiritual designations. Tylee and JJ would be labeled dark within months. Friends noticed Lori slipping deeper. She stopped talking about normal life, work, raising kids, daily routines. Instead, she spoke of portals in closets, missions from angels, and a looming apocalypse set for July 2020. She believed she was a warrior chosen to help lead the 144,000 into the new world. And Chad? He told her she was a goddess. Their romantic connection fused with their shared doomsday fantasies, creating something dangerous, a partnership where reality bent around their desires and where anyone who stood in the way of their mission risked becoming spiritually expendable. The flames of this twisted romance ignited a chain reaction that would end in buried bodies, national headlines, and the kind of horror that doesn't need ghosts, just the wrong two people finding each other at the worst possible time.
September 2019 should have been a new beginning for Lori Vallow. A quieter life in Idaho, a fresh start after a trail of drama stretching across Arizona and Hawaii. But behind the smiles and soft-spoken charm, Lori's world was spiraling into something darker, faster, and far more dangerous. And at the center of that spiral were Tylee and JJ. Tylee was smart, sarcastic, and far more aware of the chaos around her than most teens her age. She had watched her mother shift through marriages, cross states, and embrace strange beliefs. She protected JJ, stepping into a second mother role far too early. Friends noticed something off in the months before the move. Lori seemed distracted, almost euphoric at times, speaking about her spiritual mission. Meanwhile, Tylee grew quieter, more guarded. She didn't trust Chad, and she made that clear. JJ was pure energy, autistic but brilliant in his own rhythm. He relied on consistency, same bedtime, same snacks, same schedule. Disruption unsettled him. So when Lori uprooted him to Idaho, people around her wondered, why so suddenly? Why so urgently? JJ was last seen weeks later, playing with a neighbor's kids, a bright blue backpack, his little voice calling for his favorite toys. And then silence. Days passed, then weeks. Lori began giving bizarre explanations anytime someone asked. Tylee's away at college. JJ is with a friend in Arizona. They're safe, don't worry. But no one ever saw them again. No one heard their voices. No one received a text or call. Phones disconnected. Tylee's social media, dead silent. JJ's medications, never refilled. JJ's grandparents, Kay and Larry Woodcock, had heard enough vague stories. They knew JJ's routines, his needs, his fears, and something in their gut screamed that Lori wasn't telling the truth. They contacted police. They pushed hard. They refused to be silent. And their persistence became the only reason the world discovered that two innocent children had vanished. When Rexburg officers arrived for a welfare check, Lori was all charm, smiling, calm, unbothered. JJ's with a friend, she insisted. But she couldn't give the friend's last name. She couldn't give an address. She couldn't provide a phone number. Her story shifted with every question. Alex Cox hovered in the background, silent, stone-faced. And detectives felt that cold, unmistakable pressure in the air, the kind that whispers, something terrible happened here. When police threatened to come back with a warrant, Lori didn't argue. She didn't panic.
She didn't ask for time. Instead, she left. Within 48 hours, Lori and Chad vanished like the children they claimed were safe. Their phones went dark, their house emptied, their trail went cold. And now 2 missing kids, 2 fleeing adults, and a story full of holes were about to become a nationwide obsession. America was awakening to the nightmare.